Welcome to the Spirit and Soul Healing Podcast, where we speak about all things related to spirituality, soul level healing, intuitive guidance, frequencies, and much more. I'm Amy Sikarskie, licensed vocational nurse, past life hypnotherapist, master intuitive energy healer, and a clairvoyant physical channel. Today's episode is brought to you in part by Spirit School Online, where we offer courses in energy therapy, free guided meditations, courses and information around learning to connect in with your spirit guides, and much more. You can find me at amysikarskie.com and offerings at spiritschoolonline.com. Hi, this is Amy. Welcome to the Spirit and Soul Healing Podcast, and today I'm going to share with you an energetic update. So the information that I'm really feeling called to share comes from multiple readings, meditative states, messages and feedback from many of you community members, family and friends, and also from some other energetic therapists and intuitive healers that I have been in communication with. So I would say that everything that I'm going to share with you, is meant for the collective. And many of you are feeling this or have others in your life that you're supporting through these energetic fluctuations. So about a week ago, I did an Instagram Live. And when I do the Instagram Lives, I often begin by tuning in for a message with the collective. And the Council of Light, which is a broad collection of beautiful star beings. There's some Ascended Masters in there, definitely some of our soul family support and spirit, and so even some of us, our spirit guides, our personal spirit guides, can be a part of the Council of Light. So the Council of Light started sharing messages about a week ago. And they were like, yeah, the energy's been really up and down. And I remember that the past Tuesday after the 4th of July and then the Monday previously had very interesting mornings and starts of the days. And I had been texting with some friends and we're like, yeah, something feels off today. And we really were noticing we were filling into collective energy. So you probably have felt this too, and maybe you recognize that it's collective energy or maybe not. But I always start my day by tuning in with my energy. And then as the day's going, I kind of start to feel what's going on in the collective. And I've just noticed this naturally happens. So if I wake up and everything feels perfect and amazing and everything's great, and then over the course of an hour or two, I start to feel the energy shifting, I know it's collective energy. And I'm actually in a very quiet space in the mornings. I'm typically in privacy, so I'm not interacting with others in the physical world. And I have my own sacred special time in the mornings. And so that's when the information and the energy comes through. So if one might wonder, well, how does she know if it's collective energy or her own stuff? And I've talked about this multiple times, but I'll share how I know in the mornings. It's because I haven't engaged with anybody. And if I can't place anything in my life that would make sense to the vibrations I'm feeling, then I'm pretty sure it's collective energy. And at that point in time is almost like when I start texting friends or the text messages start coming in, whoa, something's off today. So it is really interesting to be a clairvoyant, clairsentient channel and intuitive in this space and role that we're playing on Earth right now when we are working with many people in their individual experiences and also with communities and also bringing through information. And sometimes the energy feels amazing. So it's really interesting. But last week, as a part of the beginning of the message for the collective, they gave 2 weeks. They said that it would be a lot of fluctuation from day to day. And they specifically showed me 2 weeks. So I was feeling that it would be something at the end of 2 weeks that we would have acquired as far as new information, or we would know something new. Um, like they were saying, to look behind the scenes, dig a little bit deeper, really analyze the energy and all of these kinds of messages. But what's interesting is here we are, and we were only maybe like 4 or 5 days past that reading, and I kept feeling a lot of messages come through and energy moving and shifting. And so, to get clarity on what was going on, I sat in meditation. Um, I got some messages, saw some visions, and then to double check, I love to double check. I went to one of my healers and just kind of had her like starting to read some information around experiences, and it all lined up. And it was very interesting because what I want to share with you is that number one, there's a lot of energy clearing right now from the old earth. So the old earth vibrations and energies. And she was seeing different places on the earth plane, so in the physical, that were releasing frequencies that had been stored. And this was like actually stored the way that I perceived it as she was sharing the information. I was seeing visions. And so to me, it looked like in the physical earth, and it was clearing up and out. And some of these places are those energy hotspots that are active, and the energy is very intense and very active, and it's clearing that out. But what's happening as it's clearing out, those that are sensitive are feeling it. So I don't know if you've ever been in a group clearing setting. Sometimes it can happen in workshops or classes, online or in person, where they're doing a cleansing. And if there isn't like an intentional way of clearing the energy in a clean aspect, or if you're sitting close to somebody and close to their energy, you can sense what's going on. And so that's almost a little bit like what's happening right now, because as Earth is clearing, many of us are sensing variations in those frequencies, and they come through as a thought or a vibration or an emotion. And one thing that's been coming up is a lot of confusion in communication and a lot of disillusion, meaning there's not a clear, concise frequency where, like, when you first look at it, you're like, oh, this is exactly what I'm seeing or what I feel. And now understanding the message from a week ago when the council was saying, look deeper, like look behind it, and so we do our own internal checks, and we can look around from different perspectives. You can go up to the higher dimensional planes, like up into spirit world, and look around and see all different angles of what's happening. So one thing that was happening is that energy is releasing from the old earth vibrations. And she was talking to me about grounding and like, how do I ground? And, I'm going to go on like a little sidetrack here, but I was like, yeah, actually, it's interesting. Lately, I've been just kind of like grounding in my body and with earth nature elements around me. And I haven't been feeling this connection to the core of the earth how I had in the past. Like it's just shifted. And she shared with me that, yes, the same for her. And so I have not intentionally like tuned into that directly. So it was such a nice piece of information and supportive advice. And she was sharing that when she asked about it, what she was being led to do was to ground into the new earth frequencies, the new earth vibration. So if you're feeling a little wobbly, that's common. I've seen that in many sessions of late, where maybe it looks like the ground is lopsided, so one leg is higher than the other, or we're walking and the path in front of us isn't level. So one way to look at that is like, oh, okay, what frequency am I grounded in? And it could be that you have one part of yourself in the old earth energy and one in the new. Like we're actually in that transition, creating that bridge to help anchor the new earth energy. So when you go for support with your earth connection, if you're not feeling it how you used to, if you're not feeling it viscerally, like I'm really a physical, clair sentient, clair empathic kind of person where I can feel the energy. And that's the thing, like I just really rarely was feeling it when I would ground into the old earth vibration. And so now it makes so much more sense. So now I'm grounding into the new earth energy, and it's actually quite a bit, it's clearer, it's brighter, it's cleaner, it's faster, it's smoother. I'm like, there's like everything. The colors are more magnificent. They have more saturation to them, and also more of like a life force energy in this new earth vibration. So, number one, if your grounding has been kind of funny or you've noticed that, then it's because you're already naturally shifting over to the new frequencies. So, go ahead and like make a note, consider next time you ground to, with your intention, work towards grounding in the new earth energy. Second is that when the energy comes up, if your aura is strong, you might not sense it at all. But if you have an off day, if you've been physically sick or overworked, if you're stressed or taxed, your energy field can be depleted. And then that's how energies come in. If your energy field is strong and bright and robust, then energy that you don't want to interact with or invite into your space comes up to the energetic field and you reject it. Like your energy field kind of acts like, a guardian. You put your guards up, it pushes it away, or you can analyze the vibration way out at the edge of your energy field. But if your energy field is depleted, it gets closer to you. And then it can start to feel like emotions. The thoughts can get in. You might physically feel fatigued or lethargic, like you're just expensing a lot of your energy. So, what happens is this frequency can come around and it's not our own, but if we're not aware, we might start to feel it and get really confused, thinking, why am I feeling this way? So, if the frequencies come around, the first thing to do is to fill yourself with light. Try and fill yourself with love. And when we have such a strong vibration of external frequencies coming at us that is in such a contrast to who we are, and if we're not in a really robust, high vibrational, healthy, energetic space, then it can sometimes feel like we're crawling out of this pit of heavy energy or darkness. And it can sometimes feel like it's pulling us down, and our thoughts and our emotions are not who we know ourselves to be. And then in those moments, it can be really hard to access the light, to access our energy, because we've just depleted our field. So try and fill with love from the inside out, and start as, if it's even a little flame, wherever you can be, fill your heart space with love, focus on peace, and then also call in assistance. So work with whatever deities you feel comfortable working with. If it's your guides, your higher self, source energy, any of the gods or goddess energy, ascended masters, archangels, even the crystal keepers. Like, these are crystal beings or the frequencies of a crystal realm that can help you. We have spirit animals that can help you. And sound therapy, chromotherapy, physical crystals, exercise and stretching. Like, try everything. If you get to that point, you're like, okay, keep trying, see what works for you. Visualization is really nice. And so it's always nice to work with things before you have to have these like skills come on board, right? So it's always nice to work with things and learn about ourselves and learn about our gifts and our skill set before we have to use them. So if you're having a great day, that's actually a perfect time to start, working with visualization, energetic therapy, but I would say more like energetic support, because it can be, as I've mentioned, you can feel that support from many aspects. So if you're feeling your energies off, or you're noticing the collective energy is off, first of all, It could be one or the other or both. And there's always ways to clear it with light, with love, and with assistance. And then what you want to do is start filling yourself with a lot of energy of light. So affirmations help, positive music helps, holding crystals to support you can help, spending time in nature, like sitting by a tree, hugging a tree, literally, because it grounds you and it amplifies your aura and it fills your aura. So not only does it amplify the frequency, if somebody were to look at your energy field and kind of see the shimmer and see it glowing, but it starts to fill you up from within as well. And going on hikes and walking in nature, that can help. Art can help, poetry. Like there's so many experiences. So work with what works best for you. And then if you feel the energy coming around again, I would work with putting up, you can visually go into meditation, you can ask for assistance, but put a shield over you. And I would do one that is full of love, because if you're feeling the energy and it's coming from the collective or the matrix of the old earth, it's not like we want to feel that we have to be afraid or get like we're in a fight with it, being aggressive or defensive or offensive as our initial space. Protect yourself with love, call the angels in. And so you can buffer your aura with all kinds of colors. One thing that I like to do if I notice, like, okay, maybe somebody I know, like a friend or family member, is having an off day, because of our connection, I can feel it and it's super uncomfortable. I like to put a big rose quartz between us, or the frequency of rose quartz around my aura. Amethyst works too. Any of the green stones. I mean, look into crystal therapies or see what comes to you. But that frequency can help neutralize and give space. And really, one of the goals is compassion for ourselves and others. Not jumping to conclusions, but taking the time to observe and let things play out. So being really patient. And also, the more that we find that we're healed within ourselves, we won't take things personal, but we can find the space to sit with it and ask, okay, was I out of alignment? Did I do something? Was there a miscommunication? Like, we don't just brush it off and not take accountability, but you are able to receive information and we're able to sit with it in a clear, loving, neutral space, as far as like not having to get offensive or defensive. So because there's a lot of misunderstandings right now and a lot of confusion, that's why I'm sharing with you some ways to work with it. And one of the messages that came through in a session with my healer was that there will be more of this coming, and it's influencing those that are sensitive, especially light workers and intuitives and healers, because we are so sensitive. We're going to notice it, we're going to feel it, and it can go through communities and networks in that way. So meaning, like, I might know somebody and then three people, out who I've never met, we could be having the same experience because we're noticing that energy as it's clearing. And if it lingers and it doesn't want to release, that's when many of us are being called to clear it with our skill set. And as I was sharing this, I was like, oh my gosh, are they going to lead me into getting into all the details? And right now they're saying no, that if you're meant to do that work, you will already know. So it's not like something for me to get into or to teach on a podcast. Like they're like, nope, not today. Just if it's coming around and you need to help push it through portals or work with other energies of the light to help heal and transmute, then you already know how to do it. And so no matter where we're at, everybody though can find the tools with working with unity, love, strength, and I'm seeing like this, okay, I'm seeing two words, intuition, and I'm hearing integrity. So really knowing who we are, not stepping out of that. You know, it's like we've probably all been through these challenges where we feel that we're coming from a place of peace, and maybe somebody misreads our intentions or our vibration, and it can feel like really confusing and not very good, basically. So what this is just one example. They're saying, but you know that you're in a peaceful place. Like you're not upset with anybody. You feel good, but somebody could be upset and try and, like, kick up some energy and pull you in. And they're saying, no, you don't have to get pulled in. If you sense and see the energy, just know that that's all that it is. It's energy. You don't have to let it define you. You don't have to identify as being a part of that. Actually, they're saying commitment, which is so funny because I'm like commitment. And so they show me the other party is really committed to being in a fight, or really committed to like having their way be the truth for everyone. And the guides are saying, if you're centered in a space of love and compassion, and you know who you are, and you know that like you are not phased, you are cool, you're not being persuaded to get into challenging conversations and arguments and all of this. They're saying stay in that vibration and know who you are. So this is just one example of the message of know who you are, because they say like when that happens, and we've all had that, I'm sure, it's like we can feel so confused, but we know who we are. I'm like, no, like that's weird. I'm good. I don't want to fight. And so they're saying that the energy is going to kick up a lot of unsettled emotions, meaning unhealed frequencies that I see are floating in people's energy fields. So this can be for us too, obviously, for everybody. Like if we have something that isn't healed, then it can kick it up and we can feel extra sensitive around it. And it can be challenging. So that's where compassion comes in for ourselves and for others. So I just want to read a little bit about this post to make sure I'm not really missing out on too much. But I did put a post on Instagram. Was it yesterday? Yeah, it was last night. And I got so much feedback from it that I was like, I'm going to go do the podcast, because I know that not everybody is connected on Instagram. And so Instagram, I have a page on Amy Sikarskie, and that's where I made this post. And then I shared it in stories on the podcast page. So if you want to connect on Instagram, you can find me at spiritandsoulhealing.podcast or Amy Sikarskie. So let me just read a little bit here of what we have. Okay, so the first message says, well, it's actually a full message, but they break it into slides. So a recent message that's come through lately is that there is a warring in spirit, and it's being felt in the physical planes. And that is true. That's a message I received in multiple readings about a week and a half probably ago, maybe 2 weeks is when it started. And they were showing me, because I could feel the energy start to like kick up. And they're like, hey, heads up. There's a lot going on in the heavens right now. Actually, I think they use the words heavens. Yeah, there's a lot going on in the heavens right now, which to me is also spirit realm. And so they said, and it's being felt on the earth, or you could say it's being mirrored on the earth. Another vision I got was like it was bleeding or leaking down, kind of like emerging, like how watercolors do, down the dimensions into earth, and that we would be feeling it. And yesterday, one message I got was like, hey, if you have all these little things happen in your physical life and we just brush them aside and we're like, oh, that's weird. Okay, I'm going to go along with my day. Yeah, we can do that. But if it's actually related to something in the spirit realm that then is not resolved, it's only going to continue. And that's kind of what I was experiencing, because I had looked at, like things that I'd seen, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like, that's really odd behavior from this person or that person. Or, wow, what's this vibration of the morning and the day? And so I just was like, okay, things are going on. All right. And I didn't really look closer. And then I consistently got more and more experiences and messages. And I'm like, I need to figure this out. So that's when I went to Spirit World and we worked on it. But to that, if you're still feeling stuff, then it could be something else. There's a lot of energy, emotion, and moving. And another aspect of it is if it initiated an enhancement of a vibration that is caught in the past, or it's a frequency you haven't healed, and this energy cleared that was kicked up from the old earth energy, like, maybe that cleared, you can still feel it in your system until you finalize the clearing up of what's in your energy field. So when we sense a specific vibration that is similar to something that we have dormant within us, it can bring it to the surface for clearing and for healing. And I always look at experiences like that. Whatever we go through is an opportunity to heal it and to be stronger and to be wiser. So I also feel that we won't have more than we can handle. And maybe somebody's going to take offense to that and be like, you've got to be kidding. Like, I've been through so much. And if that is the case, I'm really like sending so much love and compassion, and I hope it clears. Because I've been there too, and I'm like, can I take any more? But for me, I've, worked with teams in physical and in spirit to help me understand and to heal it. So continue your healing process. If it's already released within you, then once that frequency clears from the collective energy, you'll notice it's gone. So I just went on another tangent, but that's okay. That's how it's going to be. There's so much to talk about. So the rest of the message was saying that one might wonder what this energy is about or how it's impacting them. They can notice, like, wow, I'm feeling this way. Where is it coming from and why am I feeling that way? Or they might recognize it in reactions or energies of others in their life. It can come through in conversation. It can come through in just like a vibration. So it can even come through in visions and dreams. And what they're saying is, please know that there are many sensitives that are feeling this right now, this kicking up of energy from the old earth. And the guidance is to stay grounded in the new earth energy, which I already shared, but that's what it says. And then they said patience, love, and compassion will heal, transmute, and get us through this energy and this time. And then they said the contrasting energy is palpable. Like, you can feel it. You really can. If it's affecting you, you'll know. Many of us are feeling it, and the light workers tuning in begin to recognize it's not their own. And in one aspect, like, that's a really fortunate place to be in. But the thing is, what I was getting is that it doesn't mean, okay, you just ignore, whatever, like, it's not mine. Actually, it's like we're all going to be working to help shift into this new earth frequency, lift the consciousness and heal generational trauma. Because if you recognize it's not your own, they said, somebody might say, oh, good for them. They've got it easy. But not really, because if it's not ours, then we are working to help clear it in the collective. Just as if it were ours, we would be working to heal it within ourselves. And they say, so they want to remind us that there is a shift happening. And although it can have those heavy moments, it also has the lightness. And they said lightening is occurring, meaning if it's dense, it's becoming lighter. If it looks like it's muddied or dark or foggy, it is now brightening and it's becoming clear. So the past 2 to 3 days have been intense, and I will say that now it's like the past 3 to 4 days. So it's basically this week. Many have reached out to me. Okay, this is what I put. Many have reached out to me, and I've also had information coming through my guides and other healer friends. Okay, so we already talked about that. And then they're saying it was just a soup of energy, like a complete soup of energy. And so when I shared this and I was asking everyone about it on social media, I got some responses, and I got so many responses that I was like, okay, I want to bring this information onto the podcast, because if anybody else is struggling, I want you to know you're not alone. And like, that is my intention for the message, is to let you know you're not alone, and to please don't forget who you are, because it's like that energy can be so confusing and it can be very draining, where we start to spin or drop our frequency and we can feel lonely or sad. We can feel lost. There's so many vibrational spaces that we can then go into emotionally, and it's not your true self. It's not your true light. This energy can be very confusing. And so my next slide that I put up was, what does it actually feel like? Or how can it present itself in the physical reality? And the messages that came through was, it can create confusion, division, fear. It can come in through infiltration. It can kick up this vibration of unworthiness and having us question ourselves and others. It can have us question our self-worth, our integrity, our intentions, and also others. So it like can get your mind in a space where you're just reliving things and searching for answers and trying to make sense of it, when really it's not an energy that you created or that was a part of a relationship. Like, it didn't belong to you. So it can just be really distracting for those of us that have, positive things in the world to do. Then we take extra time out of our life to go down this a dead end or a funny path that really just becomes more and more confusing. And so my guide said the goal of the energy, or what it's like happening from it, is separation. So if you want to think that some of the energy has intention and consciousness, which it does, its goal would be separation, fear, and division, because it becomes enhanced. It gets fueled by that. Some of the energy is energy without consciousness in such a way. Okay, so then they were saying, well, how can it present itself? So okay, you might say, Amy, yeah, I've been feeling all of this, or maybe you haven't. And so for some clarity, is the way that it can present itself is if you feel amazing. Like I mentioned, you wake up in the morning and things are great and you haven't had any altercations or conversations with anybody. That's how I know. And I'm fortunate to be in that space in my mornings, but not everybody is. So, but you'll notice it potentially in variety of ways, and it comes on suddenly and unexpected. And it can create altered thoughts where our mind starts analyzing things like excessively, and it doesn't make sense because we're looking for answers. Emotions can come up. We can begin to feel irritated, agitated, a sense of anxiety, a feeling of a loss or a despair. And I remember a few weeks ago, one day, I think I cleared it within an hour, but some energy came in and I was like, what is this? And it felt very lacking. It just felt very blah and kind of heavy, but mostly just there wasn't any vitality or a spark of life in this energy. And I remember to myself, I'm like, I'm not depressed. It doesn't feel like depression, but it feels like a spiritual wasteland or something. Like, not even fatigue physically, but like the energy just was gone. And so it can, you know, flow into a variety of these emotions, because when I read despair, it reminded me of that, like despair or depression. But it's kind of hard to really put a word on it, because it's not full depression, you know, in a clinical sense. If you feel it for a short amount of time and it goes, like I felt it for like an hour and I knew it wasn't mine. But just wanted to share that some people might feel it in a similar vibe of depression. And what happens is it's an energy that pushes on our aura. And if it does have that consciousness, it looks for a way in. And I mentioned at the beginning about a strong aura. So if you have a strong aura, it can't get in, because the light of your aura transmutes it or repels it. And if you notice something coming around and it doesn't get in, rather than just like acknowledging it and letting it go float around in our realm, one of the messages they say is to call on a higher frequency of light to help heal it, help it cross into another dimension so it can receive the healing or transmutation, whatever it's needed. But you don't have to take on the position, I'm hearing authority, or the free will choice of yourself to get involved and try and understand all of it. It's like, have it cross over. There can be so many layers to energies. So you work with the angels, you say a prayer, you send love, you send light, and you ask it to back up, back away. And at the beginning of this, I mentioned, if you're meant to help clear it, you will, because they're reminding me, Amy, you don't have to go into the ways. So if you're meant to clear it, you will. If not, call for assistance from the angels or God, source, love, whomever you work with, whatever frequency. But another aspect they're sharing is that for those of us who have a pretty strong auric field and we know what we're working with, they want you to look out for what I call Trojan horse energy. And that's when your guard is down, because maybe you're in your home or a familiar place that you've never felt that you had to be on guard around or in that space. Or maybe you're speaking with a friend or family member or somebody that you have had a really great relationship with. There's no issues. But what can happen is the energy can sneak in through an opening. So it might be that they're having an off day and then you feel the energy come in through them. Or all of a sudden, maybe you're, I don't know, out at a park, but you never have issues, and somebody, crosses your path and you have a dirty look or words are said or something. Like, they're saying whenever you feel relaxed, just kind of prepare yourself if you're going to be in a space where there can be communications with others, because it's getting kicked up right now and they want you to strengthen your energetic boundary in your field so it doesn't get in and find a sneaky way in. So they're saying, yes, this can come through moments where your guard is down, and it may come through a variety of interactions with those that are in your life. And it can be, people in our outer circle and also people in our inner circle, those who are closest to us. And wouldn't that be like the best and sneakiest way for this energy to really kick stuff up? And so to that, one piece of advice is, if you're questioning anything around a conversation, or you're thinking of somebody and you're feeling something's off, if anything happens like that, they're saying communication is important, and just to speak openly without accusation, but hey, I'm noticing this, something's going on, and see what they have to share, because it might be that they felt something too. So what they're saying is, again, it can create division and a feeling of loss and a feeling of confusion. So they want us to come together in fortifying our energy field, holding light every morning, setting positive intentions. And they're really asking Lightworkers to amplify their personal practice of care and that more energy is going to be coming up. I don't know how long. And it's like really not typically. I don't like to do anything that brings fear to anyone. So please don't take it as a thing of like, ooh, it's more like, hey, you're going to notice this potentially. If you already are, you'll understand. Here's some tools to recognize it and how to work with it. So we want to be empowered. And if you're alive on earth and if you're listening to this podcast right now, there's a reason. So I find that I'm guided to present this information for a reason, and probably 100% chance you were guided to the podcast to listen today. So take the parts that you feel really resonate and that are meant for you. Because this is a message for many of us, but I think a lot of it we can interact with and really utilize in our life as far as an awareness and understanding and skill set. So on the next slide, I shared I wanted to get clarity on what I was sensing. So I went to a trusted healer, and without sharing much, she confirmed what I was picking up on. And that's how I love to work when I do readings too. Like just a cold reading to start off with. If she had any questions to get clarity on some of the frequency she was feeling, I would give her like a couple words or a sentence. And then she went on to share with me actually that she was seeing a lot of this energy that was coming around Lightworkers and healers. And I want to say it's coming around probably the whole collective, but we're more sensitive and we see it first. I always honestly, there's so many times where I would have something happen in my life, and then a few days after or a few weeks after, I see it hit the collective. And it's kind of like probably many of you this happens too. So you have a heads up of what's coming and how you've worked with it. And then you're able to help others work through it. So you can look at this in different ways, but for those of us who look at things or sense things sometimes as being like a psychic attack, it can be labeled that because the energy is something that we are having to either combat, and it is a combat because you have to step out of your quiet, private, alone space and deal with it. I mean, you really do. It's relentless. But as I mentioned at the beginning, you can combat it with love. It just means you have to step up to the plate. So you can just say there's energy around, you notice something is off, or if your energy field feels really depleted or it consistently comes at you, there is a term where somebody could say, oh, it feels like a psychic attack. And psychic attack energy is energy that we're having to, we're having an interaction with and we're having to hold the light. And it doesn't mean that it's purposeful, intentional, or coming from another person, right? So it can be a similar sensation when we tune into collective energy that's kicked up and clearing. And they really want to let you know that because that helps many of us to not feel like, oh my gosh, there's a huge issue between me and my friends or my family, whatever it might be. It can just be that energy is amplified. So let's see. Okay, I'm just reading and I want to share with y'all what some of the messages were in response. So I did receive a lot of messages and I want to thank everybody because, I was guided to share this, but still I was like, oh, I hope I don't stir up fear. I don't want to be you know, sharing anything that's fearful. This is just a real serious heads up. So a couple of the messages that I got when I asked, have you been experiencing any of these emotions too? Like the separation, the confusion, the fatigue, emotions, anxiety vibes. And we have somebody that responded, yes, I have been witnessing this in many different ways. And then somebody said, yes, I have been mistaking it as a depression spell. And that's right. Remember, I was sharing it's kind of like a depression. And then very much, Amy, these last 2 days have been very intense in the physical world. And then another one, yes, my love, I have. Thank you for this enlightening share. And oh my God, thank you for sharing all the information. I could not figure out why there was so much confusion in my life. And yes, very much so, on and off. I'll be doing what I do to I'll be doing what I can do to clear, release, and call in light and love. And then so much, especially today. Thank you for posting. Wow, I'm feeling this so much. I can feel the terror or the release that is happening. But wow, what a ride we are on. Oh my gosh, absolutely. And then, when will this pass? I'm totally feeling this. And the message that I got in response was, it's clearing, but in waves. We worked with one aspect. So we worked with one aspect of energy that, was enhanced, that came around in my life that I was brought my attention to, and it's gone. But any energy left within our own thoughts and emotions, if they're related to this, then it's really important for us to do our own personal healing and release within ourselves, transmute it with love, and then provide self care, enhance it with positive affirmations and compassion for the self. And then we see roller coasters. It's like it goes from roller coasters to stars and meditations and hearts, and then roller coasters again. So, oh, absolutely. Lots of ups and downs. And some of y'all are noticing physical sensations, and I'll say that I noticed that too, when I was working on the energy to help heal and clear some of this that was in the collective. I did notice heat and then a cooling tingle. And so you'll probably notice that that can happen if you're sensitive to energy. It might be one of your ways that your body recognizes frequencies that aren't your own. Okay, so let's see. Oh my goodness, I was wondering why I was feeling flat since the weekend. I was feeling good before that, and I'm guessing this could be it. I even found it hard to focus, clearing my energy. Good to know to keep connecting. Thanks for the heads up. So, yeah, you're so welcome. And I also have felt like a flat kind of vibe a few weeks ago. So, it really does. The different frequencies can affect us in different ways. And a couple of weeks ago, it was a different vibration. But I do want to share the thing that's so interesting is this Monday, I woke up and I was like, this feels good. Like, this feels like a really good day. And it lasted, for most of the morning. And then they were showing me a lot of what was going on in the collective. And I was like, oh, okay, let's not ignore this. So that's when I was like, getting some messages and wanting to connect in with some other trusted healers just to see if they had anything else come up. And I say trusted just because I have experience working with them and their information has really come through clear in the past. And so it's not like, I have reason not to trust anyone, but I've worked with them before. And so I really valued that connection and wanted to reach out. These were the messages I got that were responding to a story share that I have permission to share publicly. I received many other private messages, and I would just, want to thank everybody for engaging and for confirming and for letting me share your messages, because this is like a real thing that's happening, but I know we can work through it. So, welcome to the world of energy, of therapy, or intuitive abilities. When we work with energy, we can help to release it, to clear it, and to heal it, and to ultimately bring stability and peace and remind everybody and ourselves, like, we are here in love for love. We are here in light and with light. And we are here to help create a unified field of health and freedom, abundance and peace, and a space where all can come together to enhance all the positive aspects that we really truly can utilize and share to create that new earth, or to be a part of that frequency as it's flowing through. So I hope this helped. And I just want to also say, let's say you are weeks or months out into the future when you hear this message. I always feel like messages come to us at the right time. So you might find some information from this share way in the future that is pertinent and supportive for you. So take what works for you. I just want you to all know you're loved. One message was to reach out to others and work in communities and strengthen your energetic vibration. Everything can be done positively without any fear. If you have fear around something, please work to heal it and clear it before you proceed forward, because the fear can leave openings and like gaps in our aura, and it can elicit a vibration that will begin to attract things. It's a part of that law of attraction. Wherever you are vibrating, whatever frequency you're vibrating in, or whatever you're focusing on, or whatever keeps coming up to you will persist. And we do create our reality in a sense that we attract it. So if we're afraid of something, we might notice that we see it over and over again, and then it starts to manifest. So this is not to say to throw all of your discernment out of the window and not have boundaries. Not at all. But just notice if you have things coming up, work with somebody or go into meditation and try and really heal it and clear it. It can be something from this life, a past life, or an ancestor. It could be a programming. It could be experiences. And everything can be healed through love. Everything can be healed through clarity of understanding. And when we have a healed energetic field and chakras, it is quite a bit easier to navigate, filter, and discern through digesting the information and analyzing the information that we're receiving. So I hope this really helps. I do have some meditations, free meditations at spiritschoolonline.com. They're all with the intention of working on different parts of the energetic field for activations, cleansing, enhancements. There's quite a few of them that are actually, complimentary. You can just pop on there and flow into them whenever you want. And then I also do have additional libraries of other meditations if you're called to try some other ones or go deeper if there's another one that really speaks to you. So, or, you can find other guided meditations, but just begin working with strengthening your energy field. Please don't take things personal. Know that you're beautiful and loved. If you have something come up over and over again and you're like, wow, I really messed up, or gosh, I stepped out of alignment, definitely, do all that you can to heal that by apologizing and taking responsibility and accountability, and then give yourself the same forgiveness that you would extend in other. So we're human. We really are. We're human, and we're doing the best that we can. And if you say, no, Amy, I don't think I was doing the best that I could, okay, work through it. Whomever you might have offended or had, that you hurt, do what you need to do to reconcile the best that you can, and then just strive to do better, right? But there's so much going on right now, and if y'all could see what I can see, and maybe you can, but if we understand how much intensity is out there, how many unhealed wounds and those that are reacting from unhealed wounds, and the heavier energies in the astral realm, that we're all here that are on the podcast and listening and connecting for a purpose and a reason, and it's to do our own part, which then adds to the wholeness, the whole part of the light working mission. And so I want to thank you all so much for being here, and thank you for letting me share this special little message that's been just really coming through. I mean, before I got on the mic, I was getting download after download. I felt all this energy around, yeah, because I was like, should I share this? Yes. They kept coming, yes, share it. So I would love to hear from you. You can send me an email. If you're on Instagram, send me a direct message or put a little comment underneath if this helped you. And again, as the podcast is getting started, 5-star likes are so appreciated. And on a few of the platforms, you can also leave a review where you'll be entered into a drawing for a 30-minute energy session or reading, or just a mentor conversation, whatever you prefer, but like a one-on-one experience. And I'll be doing one drawing a month. So thank you so much, beautiful friends. You can actually find the winner in the show notes of this month's drawing. And I look forward to connecting with you again, actually on the next episode. Ooh, it's so good. We filmed it a couple weeks ago. So this is coming up, an episode on the Akashic Records and healing with the Akashic Records and DNA. And I actually bring through my very first channeled message on the podcast with the Council of Light. And it's a conversation with Leanne. I think you're going to love it. So if you're not already following the podcast, if you follow it, you'll get notified. But that one will be coming out Friday morning. All right. I love you all so much. And we'll see you again very soon.